sections in Chapter 13. Everyone is in work together and on your own, 13.4. 13.4. Open it up.
Just on your own, you mean? What?
I'm 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. So, there are 4 sections to Chapter 13. Okay? The very first thing that we learned about is you take your payroll ledger.
That's it, we're fighting.
Okay, you take your payroll and then you have to journalize it. And that's what this is in blue. Okay? This was section 13.1, where we journalized it, and you needed to make sure that federal income tax went with the account employee income tax payable. And then your net pay was cash and your total earnings was salary expense. 13.2, which we did on the same day, was our 4 employer taxes. Unemployment, federal, and unemployment, state. Okay? And it's important that you do them in that order. Social Security, Medicare, unemployment, federal, unemployment, state. Which one is bigger, federal or state? State. Always remember that the federal is 0.8%, so make sure you go from there. And when you journalize that, you will really journalize the blue one, and then you will immediately go and journalize your black one. The black one goes in your general journal. The blue one is going to go over here in your cash payments journal. That will not be up on your test on Wednesday. Okay? That will not be up when you take the test on Wednesday. Okay? So, then yesterday we went through and filled out our employer quarterly tax form. In there, it's really the form that the employer has to send into the government to demonstrate all of the money that they have to pay. So they do that for our employee income tax payable, Social Security, and Medicare. Those 3 they send in using that form. And you need to remember that Social Security and Medicare is a matching tax. Okay, the employers match what the employees have to put in. How much does the employee have to put in? You learned about this in the last chapter.
Compared to what?
How much does an employee have to put into Social Security?
0.62.
Yeah, 6.2%, right, of their earnings. 0.062. Okay. Same thing for Medicare, right? So Medicare is a percent as well. So whatever percent the employees put in, the employer has to match. And that is one of the things we went through and proved and demonstrated in section 13.3. Now 13.4, we're really paying off those accounts. We're going to pay off our taxes. So when we think about it, really, this is how we pay off our taxes. We look in our ledger. So I look at the account, employee income tax payable. The balance that's there, guess what I pay? That. So when I go to pay my Social Security, I'm going to look at Social Security, and I'm going to see for 1 month, 4 entries. I'm assuming I'm paying bi-monthly. For Social Security, there'll be 4 entries for 1 month. Employer, employee for the first paycheck, employee, employer for the second paycheck. That's 4 credits that would go into there for Social Security. Same thing for Medicare. And then I would know what the total is, and I'm going to pay it. You don't take anything and double it. You have to read what the numbers are. Remember, if it says it's the employee's portion, if you're going to pay it, you got to pay the employee and the employer together. Read those headings. Don't just look at the numbers and go quick. Again, I'm trying to teach this a little bit different than how I've done in the past, because this is usually the struggling point of where we look at things. So the journal itself is easy. We've used a cash payments journal before, and we're going to debit accounts and we're going to credit accounts. We just got to make sure you use the right value. And I feel that the directions for our work together and on an application makes it a little bit more confusing than if you just had the ledger to look at to see what needs to pay. But that's why I'm trying to tell you, look at the words that are associated with it. So our data that they give us for instructions It says a cash payment journal is given below. Your instructor will guide you to the following examples. The following payroll data is for digital supplies for the month pay period ended March 31st of the current year. And so we have the date paid, March 31st, federal income tax, employee Social Security tax, and remember we know that Social Security is a matching, and employee Medicare tax. So it says credit balances on March 31st for unemployment for the first quarter are as follows. Unemployment federal, unemployment state, and digital supplies pays both unemployment taxes each quarter. Interesting. They tell you when to pay it, but they don't give us the date. They're doing that on purpose because they want you to read in your book. So if we look at our handy-dandy accounting book in section 13.4, this for sure will be a test question, multiple choice / true false. So when we look on page 383 in your textbook, which is the beginning of section 13.4, it goes through and it talks about when to deposit Form 941 for employment taxes. It says, will the taxes for the quarter be less than $2,500? If unsure, answer no. If it is, you must deposit the taxes by the end of the month, after the end of the quarter, or mail taxes formed for the 941. So you have to go through and follow the flow chart on what it says. It says the next one, if it answers no, if it's less, if it is no, it will not be less than $2,500. Then it'll say, is your accumulated liability for the deposit $1,000 or more? No. Did you fall under the $100,000 rule during the last time of year? No. Look back at your paychecks. Then it would say that you would be a monthly scheduled depositor, or a semi-weekly scheduled depositor, or the next banking day. So you have to go through and follow that flow chart to go from there. The 12-month period that ends on June 30th of the prior year is called your look-back period. The IRS provides businesses with the following flow chart listed there to give you on when you need to make your tax deposits. Okay, so there are two amounts that often are used to make for your federal government. The amount of the payroll taxes collected during the current deposit period, and the amount of payroll taxes owed during the prior 12-month period. All new employers are on a monthly scheduled depositor for the IRS because they don't have a look-back period. The example in our book is set up as a monthly scheduled depositor, and you will find on the very top of page 384 is Form 8109, which is your federal deposit coupon, and that goes through and goes with the check that you get mailed in. So there's a little bit of data in there where you have to know about your taxes when they are going to be due, because your instructions are not always going to give you your date. So the first thing they want us to do, it says that Digital Supplies is a monthly scheduled depositor. Journalized check number 383 with the cash payments journal 14 using the date the taxes are due to the federal government. So notice, they don't say what date it is. Why would they be so painful to you? They want you to go through it, and they know that you're a monthly scheduled depositor. So ending March 31st. So that is your first pay period, right? Okay. Or excuse me, first quarter. And it does say that you are going to need to go through, if you are a monthly scheduled depositor, you are going to need to pay by the 15th following the quarter that it's due. So our first one we're going to do here is going to be April 15th. And we are paying the form that we filled out together yesterday, our Form 941. What were our three taxes that we filled out on Form 941 yesterday?
Federal income.
Not federal income. What's the name of the account? Employee income tax payable. And what was the other two? Social Security and Medicare, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put in here employee income tax payable with check number 383. How much are we paying for employee income tax payable? $1,386, I would agree. We don't know our cash yet. Now the next one you told me is going to be Medicare tax payable. It is not $1,322.05. Do not put that in there. Why? What is this word? When you pay your tax, you have to pay employee and employer. The number they gave here, it says this is the employee's portion. If you're going to pay it, you're not going to send a separate check with the employers. That's a huge waste of everyone's time. So you have to take your employee and your employer. Or if you looked in your ledger, you would look for the amount, and the total amount that we have to pay is going to be $2,644.10. All of these are being general debited. Why? Why are we debiting employee income tax payable and Medicare tax payable? Do we have more or less of this tax? What are we doing right now? Are we paying our taxes, or are we saying that we owe more of our taxes? We're just guessing right now. Okay. Right here it tells us, prepare a journal entry for the payment of withheld taxes. So this transaction, we are going to write a check out and mail it to the federal government. So if I am paying my taxes, the amount of taxes that I have will then go down. So my liability account is going to be debited. I owe less in employee income tax payable, Social Security, and Medicare. Now, the other tax that you agreed with me before on was, this is supposed to be Social Security. Sorry. It's supposed to be Medicare tax. Sorry. As soon as I looked at it, I'm like, whoops, that's a bad thing. Now, our third tax that we filled out when we did Form 941 was going to be our Medicare tax. Now, our direction says that it's $309.25, but I don't use that number again. Why? It says it's the employees. So they are purposely giving you just the employees portion, and you need to realize which taxes are matching. And Medicare, again, is a matching tax. So we're going to pay $618.50 for Medicare. Now, I'm not done. I have 3 debits. I have no credit. That does not make happy accounting land. So add up your debits to get your credit. This part should be easy, yes. The main thing that I want you to remember for making this payment is it says on page 383, if you are a monthly scheduled depositor, deposit taxes for the month by the 15th of the following month. So if you ever see if you're a monthly scheduled depositor, it needs to be by the 15th. Okay? If you are a quarterly depositor, you have to have it in by the end of the month after the quarter. So for us, that would then be, if we were a quarterly one, it would be by April 30th. If you are a semi-weekly scheduler depositor, it gets a little bit more confusing, but I'll let you know you won't have that example in class. So what is my amount of cash? I concur. Okay, so that is for the payment of our employee Social Security and Medicare tax. Now, instruction number 2, prepare journal entries for the federal and state unemployment tax. Assume both checks were prepared on the due date for our federal tax deposit, checks number 401 and 402. So I will let you know we're going to pay federal before we pay state. So when we take a look at our unemployment tax information, federal unemployment insurance is paid by the end of the month following each quarter. So we know that there are 4 quarters in the year. So it needs to be paid by the end of the month. So we will assume on the last day of the month would be when you would send it in. So what would our date be then? 30th, because there's only 30 days in April, not 31. So we're going to pay federal first. So we're going to do unemployment, tax payable federal, check number 401. And how much do we owe? Yep, so we're going to debit unemployment tax payable, $511.75. And we will credit cash, $511.75. Now, I have to write out a separate check for state unemployment tax. Think about it this way. Federal is getting shipped to Washington, D.C. Our state tax would get shipped where? Madison. So you can't write out one check for both of them. Same date, though. Date will be the 30th. Our account title will be Unemployment Tax Payable State. Check number 402. And this amount should be much higher than our federal. And that's going to be $3,454.34. Save her up and try that on your own. Oh, 4 cents at the end. Thank you. You saved me. I had 30 cents instead of 34 cents. The month should be July for on your own. Because when does your quarter end? June. So you're going to be paying everything in July. And I do believe it says it's a monthly scheduled depositor for your employee income tax, Social Security, and Medicare. So it would be very much like what we just did for work together. July is 31. That is a good question.